Morning, I'm at Tel Aviv, Jaffa. This is the beginning of January 2022. It's difficult for me to actually say it. It's still 2021 for me. It's looked like a horrible garage area, not so important, and that is true, but I'm here for that. This is different. It actually takes us to America and Europe. But this is the center of Tel Aviv, well, one of the centers of Tel Aviv, but a church. Then, in that case, what's happening here? The story takes us to 1866. Actually, it takes us to the 19th century. Let's talk about what's happening at the Christian world at that time. Protestant started to ask themselves, how should we change the world? We need Jesus to come now. Then one way is to pray. The other way was to leave their houses and to reach the Holy Land, to build their colonies there, to flourish the country, to modernize it, and then all the Jews will go back to their houses. Jesus will come. Then in that case, two groups did it. There was no connection between those two. The first one is the Christ Church, which is the Mormons, Protestant from, there's a car. There's a Mormons, Protestant from Maine, and they, together with 157 people, including children and women, came to the Holy Land. They wanted to build here a colony at Jaffa. Why Jaffa? First of all, it's close to the sea. Secondly, what they heard about it is the amazing Jaffa orange trees, and they knew that here they would be established their community, and it will be so close to Jerusalem. It's only, let's say, 3 days walking or using the donkeys, or 4 hours with a train. Well, the train, it's kind of a future story. They didn't know about the train at that time, but they arrived to here. The only problem is that the land that they thought that they bought wasn't given for them. And I'm taking you now to the daily life in the Holy Land, and we are talking about the Ottomans. A lot of bureaucratic, a lot of rules. Christians are not so welcome to here. There are no Muslims. They want to conquer the place. The Ottomans have started to be weak, but they're still controlling it. Not easy to actually deal with it. Then the land wasn't given for them. They had to wait outside Jaffa, near the sea, mainly because the Jaffa people, again, didn't want 157 people who speak in different language, doesn't look the same, they have different culture, and they might actually want to buy their land. Then in that case, there was settled down until they found a solution next to, well, today it's a beautiful sea, but what they didn't know at that time, that part was a gravery, a mass gravery of people who had cholera. Then it's a disease, and while they were sitting here covering themselves with tents and fans, they discovered that some of them already got sick, some of them already died, and that was a very bad start. No colony, and the people that they love started to die. They brought with them the material. Then let me take you to one of the original houses. They brought their houses with them. They were so organized The leader was Adams, a priest, which was an actor before. The only problem was, and this is the third problem of that colony, is that he loved to drink alcohol. Then he was drunk most of the time here, but he was a very important person, and 157 people actually followed him to here. Here you can see the base or part of the original house. Now you can see that they renovated it. It's part of the beautiful hotel in front of you that started as a beautiful hotel at the American time, and this is the only building that was built with cement, with blocks. The rest were built just like that, with wood that they brought from Maine. Then 1 year later, after they already built it, they discovered that what they thought that it's going to be a successful agriculture wasn't a successful agriculture. Then they left. The one who bought most of the places were the second Protestant group who came to here, and we are talking about the Germans, the Templars. They came around 1870 to Israel. We're talking about 2,000 people, but they changed a lot. They really modernized the places that they visit. They settled down, and one of the first places that they decided to hold, and we are thinking about Jerusalem and Nazareth, but no, the first place that they decided to settle down here it's another example of a wooden building, and I will take you to see. That truck is actually blocking the view again. For example, that is a wooden house as well. The other one is not. We will talk about it soon. And in a way, it's like a no successful, and they decided to leave Israel, and we know that the Germans bought it from them. The only one who decided to stay here, see that truck is still blocking the view for me. Oh, in the middle of the road. I mean, I'm supposed to. That is the house of Floyd. And I will go to the other side and you will be able to see it better. Roller Floyd. And he decided to stay here mainly because he was the only one who succeeded. Look how beautiful is the building. Look at the decoration. Look at the balconies. He decided to stay here because he had the first carriage in Israel, and it was kind of a taxi between Jaffa to Jerusalem, and he had a lot of success. Then he stayed here. The rest became German. But I want to show you what's happened later, because it's actually it's like layers on top of a layer on top of a layer on top of a layer. We started it as orchard, not a good one, and that's why they could build here their neighborhood, the American neighborhood. And later on, the Germans built on top of it. At 1948, the Germans weren't actually, the British didn't like them. I remember the Second World War, they were kicked out of here and they never returned. We, the Israelis, bought it from them. For so many years, no one used that village, and then someone said, I will buy some of those dumps and I will build here the village. And you can see here a little bit of it. Some of them are original houses, some of them are not. It's very difficult to know which building is new or not. For me, it looks like a beautiful, rich village. And what you can see here is some of the orchard trees, the Jaffa oranges trees that were so important, so well known. Let me tell you, if I were a Rothschild, la, 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 I would buy one of those houses. Beneath us is a parking lot. Now let's go back to the story. What they saw from here, which we cannot see it anymore, is the sea and the old city of Jaffa, which is, let's say, 1 mile from here. The sea is, again, 1 mile from here, even less, 10 minutes walking. And as you can see, I'm not walking fast. Now, the Germans knew that it is difficult to be here, but they study a lot, and they had a lot of vineyards here and a lot of orchard trees all over. I mean, my house was part of it, and I live in the center of Tel Aviv. Most of Tel Aviv was covered, and even more than Tel Aviv was covered with orchards. Jaffa oranges that many years ago you used to eat from Israel. My house is now there, and it's not a beautiful house. Then you can imagine how beautiful it was here. The people were outside, I must say, at the first beginning, they weren't so happy. But later on, the Germans turned it into beautiful place with hotels. And this is one of the, it's not trick, it's the best marketing. Jaffa was the main port of Israel to Jerusalem. And most of the pilgrims came to Jerusalem. Then in that case, what the Germans did, and actually the British, the Americans tried to do that before, they built some hotels here. It's not easy to understand, but the House Emmanuel was one of the most, it was the best hotel in Israel. It's around, let's say, 80, 70, the beginning, the end of the 19th century. It's called the Park. Why the Park? Mainly because they had a park here. And I remember that as my mother used to be here with that small park, and she said that there were some animals here as well, and it was quite a beautiful place until today. Sadly, it's not an hotel today, it's kind of hostel for pilgrims or for the Messianic Jewish community in Tel Aviv. Still very welcoming. The rooms are warm. They have a small museum there, and this is the background, the back part. I will show you later on the front of it, the facade. And look at the kitty. I know that some of you are loves cats like me. Then here it is, all the cats. And look how beautiful it is. And look at the next building, we're going to talk about it soon. And here you can find a lot of books in Hebrew, of course, about Jesus. You can take it, it's for free. Because part of the Messianic Jewish organization and part of the Protestant who came here was for that. Uvracha. Now we're talking about Christ, Jesus, and you can hear at the background, I hope that you can hear the muezzins of Jaffa. One of most important people who actually helped to build that church, donate a lot of money, and actually built that garden was von Ustinov. Von Ustinov was actually Russian Orthodox, but he converted to Protestant, which at that time in Russia wasn't so easy. Then he moved to Germany, and they told him about that community. I came to here. He had a beautiful Ethiopian woman, and that was the second woman, as I believe. You know him. No, you know his son. I mean, when I'm saying you, I'm talking about people like me, a little bit. Well, let's say, I will be generous, 50 plus. Used to know the actor that used to be very famous in so many films was his son. Remember a Du Parc, the hotel that we saw the background of it? This is the facade of the hotel. Now that was the 5-star hotel at that time. When the Kaiser, the German Kaiser, came to Israel, the first night that he stayed in Israel was here. His servants and loyal people stayed in a horrible place, which at that time was the Grand Hotel, and now it's Drisco Hotel. We are going back to the same place that I showed you, which is the most beautiful hotel in Tel Aviv today. It was opened like less than a year before COVID-19. They renovated it just like it was here. I mean, they couldn't do anything without a permit, and it's still beautiful to see. The 12 rooms of it that used to be called by the name of the 12 apostles, and later on they added more rooms than it was the 12. I mean, they called it in the name of the 12 tribes. Oh, it started to rain, but I don't mind. They say that it's going to be a light rain. Another beautiful thing that you can see at the facade, that they usually added some sentences from usually the Old Testament. The shells, coffee, gates, raise. And here you can see that it's in German and in English. Beautiful hotel. I really recommend it to you, the hotel. And that part, that was one of the Americans' houses, is part of the Drisco Hotel. I must tell you, although that is sounds like excellent rooms, here it's like really, really good standards. For the Israelis of us, if you remember Karen, which is one of the restaurants that worked here for 13 years, and if you enjoy the food, then it was here. It was too expensive for me, and I'm really, really, really sorry that I did it there, to eat there. And let's climb up back. And now we know that we have Drisco Hotel, which at the time of the Germans it's called the Jerusalem Hotel. For me it's an excellent name, because the people who came to here, first of all, they asked for facilities. Secondly, they didn't stay in Jaffa for like let's say more than 1 or 2 days, just to rest a little bit and to visit the holy sites of Jaffa. They came for the Holy Land. They came for Jerusalem. Then the name Jerusalem Hotel, it's a beautiful name. The Drisco Hotel, it's by the name of the owners, the one who built the first hotel. Let me show you 3 more houses, and then we will say goodbye. About the church, it was built at the second part of the German here, the Templars, mainly because they didn't believe in churches. But when the Kaiser came and they knew that he's coming, they started to build a church here. They were sure that he will help them to donate a little bit, but they wanted to show him that German colony, it's a German colony, that in that case they built it in a neo-Gothic style. I do have another video of it that I took. Maybe I will join it to it or not, or maybe it will stand by alone, but then look for it as well. This is a very nice story. The main, there's a car behind me. Where's the sun? Always the sun. Where is the sun? Main French house. This is one of the first buildings that were built here. We're talking about 1866. The Winthrop family, but later on the Frank Templar German family lived here, and after the British slave left, remember the Germans didn't came back, then it became to be part of the IDF building, and in 2001 they decided to destroy it. I can't understand how they did it, but Dr. Reed and Jean Holmes, that came from Maine, came to here and said, no, don't do that, this is the heritage of Maine as well, and let us live here in that building and we will renovate it. And they did it, and they found out that it actually was owned by one of their family. Today it's a nice museum. There are old people. Coronavirus, the place is sadly closed, and I hope that everything is okay with them. Here, it's a beautiful example of German and British and American house. The beginning was as only one building, and it's called the Friedel House, which is that one, made of wood. But later on, the Germans, the Templars, added another part of it. It's just a beautiful place. And it's called the Brace Templar House, built with cement. You can see that there are differences, although it looks like it's different. Look at the windows, the top of the windows, look at the doors, but the idea is actually the same. And this is the parking lot of that small community. Look at the addition part of it. And I will take you to see the house of Ustinov, which is, I think, the only building here that wasn't renovated. I forgot to mention, as I believe, that was the tennis court of the Germans, the Templars. Can you hear the tennis ball? Another thing that I missed, and I want you to see it, they built the neighborhood as in the shape of a cross. And let's stand here. You can see one part of the cross and the other part of the cross in front of you. Now when we know that too, let's continue. to see his house. And whose house it is? Von Justinov house. Number 9. The name of that street, it sounds like a German name. Berhoffmann, which is a German name, but it's not their name. It's the name of a Jewish author that came, I think, from Austria. And this is the house of von Justinov. We are really close to the center of Jaffa, which is that way. If you want to see the daily life of the young of Tel Aviv, the students that lives in a wonderful neighborhood called Florentin, and you want to enjoy excellent food and to see a lot of graffiti, is that way. Florentin. Oh, let me take a video of the cat and we will say goodbye. Before we will say goodbye, did you subscribe my channel? Yes, I need it. Secondly, if you want to support me, oh, the cat just left. If you want to support me, at the description of that video, you will see the link of Buy Me a Coffee, and I will be more than happy if you will do that. If you don't find the description and the link of Buy Me a Coffee, you can write it to me and I will send the link for you. If you do have some questions, I'm here for you. And thank you for watching it. Please say whatever you feel. I will be more than happy to hear it. Bye bye. Well, I couldn't finish that video about the American colony without showing you where they stayed next to Jaffa. This is Jaffa. Oops. Right now you can see better. The people of Jaffa didn't let them enter, then they stayed right here. And that is on top of tombs of people with plague, with cholera. Then, in that case, you can understand what happened here. And there's a memorial stone here in honor of 157 American Christians, lovers of Zion, who arrived by sail on the nail chain on September 22, 1866, bringing wooden houses from Jonesport, Maine, to establish the American colony in Jaffa. And just to show you where is the American colony, it's very easy for you now to understand it, because you can see the top of the bell tower of Emmanuel Church, right there. And everything from here till there was one green orchard. Alright, then I will add it to the video. I don't know how, but I will. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.